Yo, what's up?
Thank you for tuning in to yet another episode of the Here's the Crack podcast.
If you can follow us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, help us get into those charts. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that subscribe button.
And while you're there, leave a lovely comment. Tell us what this podcast means to you. If there's any funny bits, any guests, we'd love to hear about it. Just drop a comment. We're always watching. Let's get into the podcast.
It's a company called Republic Realm. They're selling like villas in the Metaverse. And I can't remember how many there is. There's maybe like 30 or 40 of them. And they actually sold a virtual yacht and stuff that went for like, I think it went for like 30 on Ethereum or something like that, which is about 90 grand. But
where does that line draw where like I couldn't go into someone else's apartment and say steal something? Like what? Like, do you know?
Yeah, I know what you
mean.
Yeah.
Like, or if I see you in a
squat.
crowd, do you know what I mean? This is my apartment now. Sorry, lad, no.
Here's the crack, here's the crack, here's the crack, here's the crack, here's the crack. Welcome back, talking shit, I'm drinking wine, like and subscribe. Here's the crack.
How's it going, people? Welcome back to another episode of the Here's the Crack podcast. We've got another guest on today, Johnny McCamley.
Thanks for having me.
There we go. I double checked with you with your surname beforehand because I said I don't want to butcher this, but I'm going to maybe take a back seat in this podcast because I have absolutely zero clue what probably we're going to be talking about. But well, who are you? What do you do?
Yeah, well, my name's Johnny McCamley. I'm the founder and CEO of CryptoClear. It's an educational platform at the moment, but the goal of the business is definitely to put it into a one-stop shop for all things digital assets, which is a very broad term, but that's the goal of it.
Mm-hmm. And it's all Bitcoin, NFT, all that sort of stuff. So I think the best place that I can start off, I am not involved in any of it. I don't really know much about it.
Okay.
The only thing that I will say is that you guys have talked a lot recently, like Thomas and Shay have talked a lot around me about like NFTs and like that whole aspect of it. I just don't understand, like, as someone who is completely out of the loop into the whole thing, like, why would you invest in essentially what is like what looks to me as a picture of just like something like it, like a lot of these monkeys and stuff going around? Like, why would you invest money in that?
Yeah, that's the Bored Ape Yacht Club. Yeah, well, the last time I checked, the Bored Ape was actually $174,000 to buy, which might seem crazy to some, but I personally think that's a bargain for it.
Yeah.
And the reason for that is it's all built on blockchain technology, which authenticates the actual ownership of the item.
Right.
So the perfect example is actually the Vivi, which they own a lot of the licenses for like Disney, Marvel, DC. So just today at 4:00, they done a drop for Toy Story. Just as an example, they've done Spider-Man comics before, and there's only a limited amount. So there's like 40,000 comics. They're all officially licensed in the Spider-Man example by Marvel. And the beauty of that is Marvel will actually get royalties from that forever. So if I walk into a shop in Belfast and buy like a Spider-Man poster or something, and I sell it to you for like £1,000 because that's what it's worth, Marvel's not getting anything off that. Yeah. Which is why these big brands absolutely love NFTs. But in relation to us and why we would love it is, again, it's just to do with the authentication of ownership in the blockchain. Mm-hmm. And also there's a limited amount of them. If we look at the Bored Apes, there's 10,000 Bored Apes. There'll never be any more. And it is definitely like an exclusive investors club on steroids. Yeah. You know, you've Justin Bieber, Kevin Hart, celebrities, a list as long as all of our arms in the Bored Ape Yacht Club that you can go to these yacht parties in Miami with if you have a Bored Ape. Yeah. So it's definitely a massive reason, as well as the fact that they're shooting through the roof at the moment. Yeah. In value.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of people are getting into them now for the sole purpose of they hear about people making money on them, and people who weren't interested are now getting into it because they're like, well, if I can flip it and make a couple of £100, why not?
Definitely. And it's very like there was a craze that happened back in 2017 in the crypto. It was known as the ICO craze. So that was like a coin would have come out and said that we're going to try and replace like Bitcoin or Ethereum or whatever. And it pumped and then it dumped, and most of them are now sitting at a value at zero. And I definitely believe that's what will happen with NFTs. 99% of them will go to zero because they're literally just a quick cash grab. Yeah. But there is that 1% that actually hold real utility. And I definitely believe are the blue chips, similar to the crypto. There's like 12,000 crypto assets or something.
Yeah.
I personally think there'll be less than a couple of hundred once a purge happens. It's very like the internet bubble. You know, companies throwing .com at the end of their name and getting crazy valuations. I mean, the time it takes us to record this podcast, we could have a crypto coin minted.
Yeah.
You know, and throw a couple of grand at it on Facebook and Instagram, and you get people buying it. But it's going to cause you obviously huge reputational damage. Plus, it's not a good thing to do.
Yeah.
But it happens.
Do you think that's a bad thing? Like there is a lot of like coins and stuff and like NFTs that just don't have any real value or utility now. Like there's no one really stopping it at all. Because I feel like recently with NFT, there has been a lot of like what people are calling like rug pulls, where like it does just pump, but then people are like Pixelmon was one, like where like it was like meant to be sort of like a Pokemon type of thing, and like they promoted it and everything looked good, but then when you actually got the NFT,
it was a mess.
It was looked awful. Like
what sort of NFTs are you investing in? Maybe if
I own a Creatures World.
Right.
I think Creatures World will be very big. I can't remember the exact price I picked that up for. I think it was 2 point or 3 point something Ethereum.
Okay.
We are going to acquire a Bored Ape, just not right now, and we're going to acquire more land in the Metaverse as well. But the NFTs are crazy, and as you guys are saying with the NFTs, a lot of them are just rug pulls, and it's like anything where there's money to be made. There'll be the good actors and the bad actors, and unfortunately, the bad actors always outweigh the good ones.
Let's roll that back there to what you just said. You said you're going to acquire more land in the Metaverse. Explain what does that physically mean? You are going to acquire virtual land?
Yes, it's
what the heck? Like, what?
Yeah, it's virtual land in Decentraland. So there's only 90,000 plots of land in Decentraland, which to me is like the leading Metaverse. To me, it's like the Bitcoin of the Metaverse space. There's another one which is really popular, which Snoop Dogg and stuff has been, I believe he's been paid to promote it. I'm not 100% sure, but it's called Sandbox. I own one piece of land in Sandbox. I do like it, but I definitely prefer Decentraland because it's, I'm sure you can guess by the name, it's obviously decentralized.
Yeah.
And everybody seems to be gravitating towards it. Like Miller Beer have a bar in it. JP Morgan have a lounge in it. There's casinos in it which do $60 million revenue per month. Fuck. But yet there's only tens of thousands of users in the Metaverse. So what happens when, you know, property switches on?
Yeah.
We could all have a good guess at what will happen then.
And is there like things that you look for, like getting into NFT projects? Like what would be the sort of things that you look for, like criteria when you're going to invest in them, to like sort of avoid like the likes of like what we're saying with like rug pulls and bot NFTs? Like is there like criteria that you would be like, it needs to meet this or it needs to have this, if you know what I mean?
Yeah, but it would definitely have to have a use case.
Yeah.
For me, it's the biggest one. Whether the use case is, you know, it can sometimes sound silly, but if it looks like it would be a good profile picture, and definitely deep dive into the Discord and see that it's not just, you know, it's not just people saying, you know, we're going to sell these and move on to the next thing.
Yeah.
A roadmap's definitely crucial.
Yeah.
The roadmap's probably the most crucial thing there is. It's basically just a step-by-step process of what the project plans to do. So it could be the likes of opening a museum in the Metaverse, I don't know, funding a charity is another one, for example, or donating to charity is another big one. That's definitely what I look out for. And the team's another really important one as well.
Yeah.
The team doesn't have to be known, but it is important that the team actually has a bit of a stance on Twitter and is well known.
Yeah.
And it's also it also helps if you know who the person is by name, you know, because you can do a bit of due diligence on them.
And what's I'm part of this. I have NFT at the minute. It's called Knackville. So basically, what the roadmap for it is, like, they're doing loot boxes and stuff every week, and obviously the Discord's like live. But like at the minute, the price is pretty low. I think it's only like 0.04 something floor. But like they're saying, at some point we're going to join the Metaverse and we're building our own, like, we have our own plot of land. Like, what does that mean? Like, what does that, like, will I be able to play as the character that I have, or will it be just like Minecraft where this is just my person, or what?
Yeah, I definitely believe so. There's in the Metaverse, it's very like, you know, Fortnite, where you would have you know, skins or like costumes for your characters. And so I definitely think in the future you'll be able to take the likes of your NFT and you'll be able to represent yourself as that NFT.
Yeah.
And just like that example you gave with that project, I mean, I don't know what they're going to do with their piece of land, but they might build like a game or a lounge or something for you guys to go and hang out.
Yeah.
And I definitely believe the world's going to go that way.
Yeah.
You know, I've no doubt.
I've heard a lot of people talking about it and saying that at some point people are going to be making more money from the metaverse than they will actually at their own job. Like, do you think that'll become a thing?
I definitely believe so. Like, there's some what do we call, you know, architects in the metaverse, and they'll make way more money than an architect or an interior designer will in real life, if you like.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just it's gonna happen. There's everything in the metaverse, from real estate brokers where you can acquire land in the metaverse. There's digital marketing agencies in the metaverse, casinos, museums, the Playboy mansions even in the metaverse. Actually,
Yeah.
It's crazy, but it's coming. The metaverse is definitely gonna. It's almost like a fresh start, if you like.
Yeah.
You know, if somebody was to start a business, perfect example would be this podcast.
Yeah.
You could have this podcast in the metaverse where somebody, as soon as their avatar crosses into the piece of land that you're recording the podcast in, it starts playing.
So you see, for the likes of like putting this into perspective in terms of I've heard about the metaverse and stuff, but to me it's more like a VR type thing where it's, you know, I seen Gymshark done one there where it was like a virtual reality meeting and stuff, which is cool. But you see, for the likes of, say, if I owned a car dealership, how would you should that be something that, as if I owned a car dealership, say I could in the real world, like I bought and I sold physical cars, how could that translate over into the metaverse to the point where I would be making money?
Yeah, it would definitely be a tough one for cars. I think they definitely will catch up. There is cars being sold in the metaverse right now, but they're like knockoffs of like Teslas and Lamborghinis. You know, you can tell by the shape of the car body that it is a Lamborghini, but it doesn't have the actual, you know, branding on it, if you like. But I think that will come. The biggest thing with cars at the moment, which we're actually working with somebody on this, is tokenizing their classic Ferrari collection. And basically what that is taking a classic Ferrari, 3D scanning the actual Ferrari, and then putting it on the blockchain as an NFT, say creating 10,000 pieces. We haven't decided how many there'll actually be yet. And then you'll sell individual pieces of that car. And so somebody that maybe can't afford, that loves Ferraris but can't afford to pay, let's just say, £1 million for a classic Ferrari, can buy one for, you know, a fraction of the price.
Yeah.
You know, 10,000th of the price if they want to own a fraction of a Ferrari. And then when that is ultimately sold, obviously the value of their tokenized asset will sell at that value and go up in value.
Whenever you're saying things to like buying a plot of land in the metaverse, does that essentially mean that if you are someone who's in the metaverse, you can it's essentially like an open world, kind of like Minecraft, where you go into certain areas? Can anybody who is in the metaverse have access, or do they just stumble upon your piece of land? If that makes sense, or can they physically, not physically, but like, can they actually just decide that that's where they want to go? Because this makes no sense to me whatsoever.
yeah, they can randomly come across your land if they're just walking about in Decentraland, or alternatively you can open the map and go, you know what, there's a place called Here's the Crack Podcast, I'd like to actually click on that and see what it's about. There'll be like a wee symbol, if you like, you'll click on it, you'll teleport within seconds to it, and suddenly you can access. There's only one place that I know it's restricted. It's called Ice Poker Lounge. You can get into it, but you can't actually play the poker unless you own like a special hat or a blazer. And the blazers and hats, which of course are virtual, are like $3,500 or something.
Right, okay.
You know, but
have you used it yet, the metaverse? Is it live?
Yeah, I've been involved in the metaverse from 2018.
It's been up that long?
Yeah, it's when I first got into Decentraland. I first got involved in the token, which is mana. That's the token that you use to like purchase the land or purchase like basically in-world items. It was really, really bad back then. Like, you know, the graphics.
Yeah.
They're good now, but they're not where they will be in like the next 3 to 5 years. But yeah, the metaverse has been going for a long time. You know, the gaming industry and crypto is massive. Obviously, the metaverse is a big area of it. But the best way to look at the metaverse is it's almost like a carbon copy of the of the real world, if you like. And I don't mean like buildings and stuff like that, but as I was saying earlier, like if you were looking to start a business, 99% of the time I would recommend you do it in the metaverse, because it's definitely gonna be the future of digital businesses, podcasts. It's
And what sort of businesses do you think or skills at the minute would be like the most valuable, like translating over to like the metaverse, like that would be highest in demand?
definitely right now would be the building.
Yeah.
The building, like the architecture, the design of the actual.
Shares
You
an
know,
architect.
yeah, you'll make
Yeah.
a fortune. Yeah,
Plan on it.
but yeah, it's serious prices. You know, if you're looking to knock up a casino, a museum, it's gonna cost you at least 5 figures. You know, at least 10 grand to do. A lot of it is drag and drop, but if you're looking for like the real like creme de la creme casino, you're gonna pay I would say easily you'll pay 6 figures. You'll pay 100 grand plus to get it done.
But how does
get it
that
done
work?
right.
Like, is that like an architect's designing it, and then it's like how does it like go into the metaverse, if you know what I mean? Like, is it coding? Is it like, what is it? You know?
Yeah, so there's literally like a drop and drag tool like in Decentraland.
Right.
It's on like the user interface when you would log into your account, and you can build basic stuff, or you can build like more advanced stuff such as the likes of casinos, and
Yeah.
it obviously all depends. It's all based on like how many plots of land you own as well, because if you only own one plot of land, you'll only be able to build so high. But if
Yeah.
you own like 30 or 40, that's called an estate,
Right.
and you'll be able to build like incredibly high compared
Yeah.
to Joe Blogs beside you that has, you know, one piece of land. So
And
you'll
wi-
be in for a killing.
Will this be limited, like the amount of land? Obviously, you're saying there's like multiple different metaverse, like different names for metaverses and stuff. But like, say, as you're saying there, that like you put a casino in this particular metaverse, can there only be like so many different blocks that people can build on within that?
Yes, so I'm not sure exactly how many pieces of land there is in Sandbox, but I know for a fact that the Decentraland there's only 90,000
Yeah.
pieces of land. There only ever will be unless the community decides, 51% of the community decides that there should be more. But that's just not going to happen, because it would just devalue the land
Yeah.
so much. So that's why I think it's so rare, because you know the fact that JP Morgan, and you know JP Morgan, arguably the biggest bank in the world, is in the metaverse. To
Yeah.
me, that really sells it. Facebook's a dirty word now. We have to use meta.
Yeah.
You know, so
Can someone like who knows nothing about it, like say if I went home tonight, could I go on to what you're talking about? Like, could I go on and explore the metaverse?
Yeah.
Like, is it literally like, I don't want to sound really flippin' simple here, but is it just a case of like say creating a freaking Minecraft account and just dittering in?
It is pretty simple. Yeah, you would just go to decentraland.org, I believe it is .org, and you can either log in with a MetaMask wallet or log in as a guest. I haven't logged in as a guest ever before. I presume they don't make you do the MetaMask wallet integration, but you could try it logging in as a guest, but you need a pretty powerful laptop or computer right now to run it without it, you know, playing up.
Yeah.
But it will eventually get to the stage where it will be on like likes of a mobile or an iPad. But yeah, it's definitely, I mean, from when I was first in Decentraland, it was bare, to call it what it is. There was barely anything in it, and now you open the map and it's like all these mad locations that have just popped up, and all these mad events like the Australian Open. There was an event for the Australian Open in there that I actually went to. You could go and watch I believe it was the Australian Open. Me and my friend Justin actually went into it and watched the tennis. I was only there for like 5 minutes and then just jumped back out. But there's all these big brands moving into it, and obviously Nike and Adidas. Adidas actually has a store in there, you know, so it's
Well,
it's crazy.
Buy digital shoes, like.
Yeah, and I do believe that'll happen in the future. You do go down to like JD in Belfast and buy a pair of shoes, and
Yeah.
they'll give you a tag with it, and you scan it, and it goes on your avatar in the metaverse. You know, but
God.
just my 2 cents anyway.
Do you think, like, you hear people say, oh, like, you're so early, like, to this, like, this is, like, knowing about the internet back in, like, what was it, like, the 1990s or whatever, and, like,
Yeah.
like, how early do you think people are who are getting into it now? Like, do you think, how far do you think it needs to go before it is, like, sort of adopted by everyone, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think a good decade, a good sort of 10 years. I
Yeah.
think it'll definitely, or hopefully, mature by that stage. Like I can remember when I first got into Bitcoin in December of 2015,
Yeah.
and I couldn't tell you many people told me like, what are you doing with your money? You're buying Bitcoin at like $300 odd.
Yeah.
I bought Ethereum at $4, and people were like, oh, what are you doing
Jesus
buying
Christ.
Ethereum at $4?
Yeah.
And I was just going like, you know, I from very, very early days, I've always been quite a digital guy, you know,
Yeah.
into my, you know, Call of Duty, playing
Yeah.
games, and I always had something in my head where I thought that everything would go digital in relation to currencies. I thought at the time Bitcoin would just go up in value because it would be used on, you know, the likes of the deep web, for example,
Yeah.
or else it'll be used by governments. But today it's the best store of value out there. You know, it's the best hedge against inflation there is. It's the best performing asset of the past decade.
What age were you whenever you started investing in like the likes of Bitcoin? You said there you bought Ethereum at £4. What age were you whenever you done that?
It was December 2015, so that would have been 7 years ago. So I would have been 16-year-old, 17-year-old at the time.
Fuck.
Yeah, it was actually my cousin Terry got me into it.
Yeah.
He was involved. He's completely out of crypto now. Like he cashed out in 2017. I believe it was like 11 or
Peak of
$12,000 per Bitcoin. It wasn't even near the peak.
Yeah.
But he was buying from like 2012, 2013, 2014. Like he was buying it when it was, you know, $8 a Bitcoin. You know, which is just crazy. He cashed out 4 years ago and just doesn't. He's 37, 38 now and just does nothing. Like, you know, just cashed out his crypto and
Seriously?
just
Crazy.
enjoys himself. You
But it's
know,
mad to
but-
think like at that point it probably would have been used, as you said, as something that people purchase things off the dark web for, like say play on like online gambling or something like that, or buy guns or something like crazy like that.
Yeah.
Shit, like, and now like everybody's using it, like, well, near enough.
Yeah, and it's mad, like, because back then, and even people today still believe that it can't be traced, but Bitcoin is literally the most traceable currency on the planet.
Yeah.
Because it's all on the blockchain. You know, if I give you my Bitcoin address, you can go off and see how much is in it, every single transaction I've ever made.
Yeah.
And therefore, if you have like a Coinbase account or like I don't even know whether it's still around, but it was popular a good few years ago, was Bitpanda. You know, if the authorities really, if you're up to no good, the authorities could just request your KYC details and say that it's, you know, I don't know, Billy Bob who's bought, I don't know, you know, two rifles off the deep web with like 8 Bitcoin or something. You know, so the narrative's definitely changed. The likes of MicroStrategy, that was probably the biggest thing that happened with crypto. Bitcoin, that they put it on their balance sheet. And the same with Tesla, obviously. I know Tesla come out and said, you know, oh, it's not green, we're not going to accept it for Teslas anymore. But there will be a time where Bitcoin is green.
How long do you think that'll be? Because I think like that is the main issue with it. Like it is, like it's meant to be a currency, and it's like, what can you actually buy with it? Do you know what I mean? Like I don't think a lot of people, like say the likes of Ross, maybe he doesn't really know about it. Like explaining to them, like, why would you invest in this if you can't use it, really, if you know what I mean? Like obviously you can gain interest and like you can make money that way, but in terms of like the actual use of it, like there isn't a lot of people that accept it.
Yeah,
It's an interesting side for me, because like I hear you talking about it, and like I've always been like I worked in sales, so like the aspect of like buying something and selling it on is something that intrigues me, but like it just seems like there's so much to it, so much technical knowledge, that to be honest with you, I'm like, I don't want to couldn't be arsed, to be honest with you, like looking into it. But like the more you talk about it, the more I am interested in it. But I just wouldn't even know now, because it seems like anybody you talk to is so overly like educated in it, where they come out with these terms and you're just like, what? This is madness. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean. And that's probably a lot my fault, because I just want, you know, when I go off about the crypto and stuff, it leads to the NFTs and the Metaverse, where like I do forget that 99% of people don't live and breathe this every day like I do. You know, it's what I do, like from I wake up till I go to bed. You know, but just in relation to the crypto, like one of the biggest benefits for obviously investing is the appreciation in value. You know, if you look at the likes of Bitcoin, there's only ever 21 million. I believe it's like 90% of the supply is in circulation. Satoshi Nakamoto, whoever that is, group or individual, has like over 1 million Bitcoin locked up. It hasn't been moved from like day one, basically, or not day one, but a good while back. But
Is that something that has he lost his like key? Is that why that's stuck there?
No, that this is the individual or group that actually started Bitcoin.
Oh yeah.
Satoshi Nakamoto. They haven't actually moved the assets in a very. I think it's like something like 1.2 million Bitcoin or something.
Fuck.
Which is just a crazy amount. Like that's obviously billions and billions of dollars. But just in relation to like the future of where it's going to go, and definitely as you said, like what are people going to use it in the future? I believe just like it'll be as easy as sending a text.
Yeah.
If you want to buy Bitcoin, you'll just go onto an app and swipe, and it's already there to an extent. The likes of Kraken. If I go on to Kraken to buy Bitcoin, after I get through the standard email and password and select what I'm going to buy, I just swipe. I just swipe and enter a 6-digit code. They'll text me or Google Authenticator, and there you go. It'll pop up, congratulations, you've bought, I don't know, 0.1 Bitcoin or something.
Yeah.
Is it something that I sort of feel at the minute it's something that's sort of out of reach for like smaller purchases and stuff? Because obviously you've got your fees, can be quite high, your gas fees and stuff. Do you think like that will ever come down to a point where like you go into a shop and buy a bottle of water and not be charged like 30% just for purchasing it?
I think so. There's a lot of blockchains that are already there. The likes of, I think you're talking about Ethereum.
Ethereum's quite high, isn't it? It's like,
yeah.
It's probably, gas fee's just a set fee, isn't it? It's not like depending on how much you actually transfer, is it?
The gas fee is based on the number of transactions that go through the blockchain at that specific time.
Yeah.
So just as an example, like a lot of the passive income stuff I do on Ethereum, I'll scrape that out on a Sunday morning at around 8 or 9 o'clock just because it's cheaper.
Cheapest time, yeah.
But if you do it on like a Tuesday night or a Monday night at like, I don't know, like, or not night, but like 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock, you'll pay like multiples more to cash that out.
Yeah.
But there will be a time where that drops. But like I've heard about Ethereum 2.0, which that's basically what everybody focuses on is it's dropping the fees. It's much more than that. But I've heard about that for years and it still hasn't been implemented.
Yeah.
But you have blockchains like the XRP ledger, which to transact on that, it's like, a 100th of a penny or 1,000th of a penny or something. So AVAX is another one that's like 13 cents where, you go to transact in Ethereum to buy an NFT. It was actually it was last year, there was a few NFTs that I bought at mint price.
Yeah.
That it actually cost me more in gas to actually pay the gas fee than actually buy the NFT.
Yeah.
So the gas fee isn't actually based on the price of it. So say you went and bought an NFT and say it was like value wise $100 and you went and bought another NFT, it was like say $1 million. Would you pay the same gas for either then?
Yeah, you'll pay the same gas. So the gas fee, I think that NFT that I bought, it was like $120 or $140 and the gas fee was like $170 or something like that. Because there was a time where the gas fees were like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars.
Yeah.
But now they are a lot cheaper. They're definitely a lot cheaper now, but they're still not at a level where it needs to be at a level where an investor putting in like £10 isn't going to suffer from like gas fees of buying, buying an NFT.
Yeah. Because that's what I was like. Some of the ones that I was investing in are like say around £100, maybe 200, but like you're paying maybe £40 gas fee up to like 70 or something. So you're paying basically half the price of it. Like, so like obviously it probably has a long way to go to get to where like smaller investors are going to make money of it. Like, do you think there's a limit to where you should set yourself? Like, say, is there any point in someone coming in with like say £500 and investing, or is that just too low?
There's a lot of different. Like the NFTs, it all depends because I would consider like all this stuff like different sort of risk levels. So you'd have like the crypto, which is definitely lower risk than the NFTs, and then the Metaverse would be, the NFTs would be lower risk than the Metaverse. That's sort of how I would structure them. Yeah. And if I was starting off with £500, I'd definitely dollar cost average. Like if I was starting fresh with no crypto. And what I mean by dollar cost average is I would select the guts of 4 to 5 different crypto assets that are blue chip ones. Yeah. And just every month or every week or whenever it is I get paid, just invest in them specific assets. I probably wouldn't go straight into the NFTs. But then it all depends. Like you could have £500 and invest in an NFT at like £200. And 6 months later it's worth 200 grand. You can hit the jackpot with these things, but that's obviously, one in a million if you like. So I would definitely, if it was starting with £500, invest in the crypto first. And then after I got used to the crypto and how everything works with like a MetaMask wallet and all these different integrations, then it would go to NFTs, and then ultimately the metaverse.
Yeah.
And like, what sort of advice would you give someone starting out with like crypto who does want to get into it? Like, where would you advise them to start? Like, like in terms like, should they go and do the research before even putting money into it, or like, where would you sort of advise them?
Yeah, well, in the next couple of weeks, like 99% of our content on our site's gonna go to free, so that's probably a good place to to start. Yeah, you know, we did start the business off charging for the content.
Yeah.
It's still being charged for now, but we brought in a PR guy and a marketing guy, and they were just like, nobody's buying into CryptoClear, they're buying into me, so we're gonna go on like the YouTube and Twitch and whatever else. So that'd be a good place for people to start. But it's definitely, you know, it's like anything, you know, you shouldn't invest in something that you don't understand, because you'll end up just burning yourself. You know, there's many people that I know have lost a ton of money in crypto just by simply not transferring it from one address to another correctly, because there's no support line you can ring up and say, you know, I've transferred, I don't know, £500 to this random wallet, can you return it to me? Yeah. It just doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't work that way.
Like, there's one time I don't even know what I'd done. I was fucking on OpenSeas and I was buying NFTs and shit. And this, you know, the way you have the MetaMask extension on your Chrome browser, there was something, it just popped up and it said sign, and I just clicked it. Didn't think, it just took like £100 out of my account. I was like, what the fuck did I just do? Yeah. Don't even know what I'd done it for. So like, you do have to be quite careful whenever you're using it.
You do. That MetaMask is mad. Like the people that have lost money going to dodgy sites and it says, you know, approved transactions, they click on it. Yeah. Or else one of the worst ones is people enter their seed phrases into random sites. So a seed phrase is basically like a master password that'll be 12 to 24 words, and if you give that away, it just allows me control of your assets and there's nothing you can do. And so people will often get contacted on, like, I don't know, like I get emails all the time saying like your MetaMask or your Ledger or whatever is I don't know, out of service or needs synchronized with the blockchain. Of course I know that's a load of shit, but 99% of people don't. And they'll click on the link. It'll look like, to be fair, it looks like a, you know, a real proper website. They'll just click on it, enter their 12 words, and a bot will just go whoosh, take all the money out. Oh, you know, so it's it's an absolute,
it's a scary
heartbreaker.
Like.
It is.
Seems like a dog world and stuff with the NFTs, like the amount of fucking bots trying to steal your info. Like as soon as you enter a Discord server, like the amount of fucking messages. Yeah, it's scary. Like
the aspect of the metaverse though really intrigues me. Like to own land and to like the fact that you could turn a very simple business into like what is essentially digital and it would make more money is really interesting. The NFT side of things, I feel like if it was like a proper investment thing, I would be interested in it, but it seems like it does seem like a lot of hoops you have to jump through just to do it. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Whereas like the metaverse side of things, it's interesting that the fact that anybody can go on, and I appreciate the whole like you need certain places you may need like a certain NFT to access stuff. You know, that's interesting, but
yes,
I'd be interested to see how the likes of say big brands like Gymshark or like Nike or whatever can translate over into this. Like, are they selling like, are Gymshark going to start selling a certain type of clothing on it? That's really interesting. Like, and do you get a lot of businesses coming to you yourself to basically say, how can we digitalize this?
Not into the metaverse, no. I think the metaverse is definitely very, very early, but I think there will be a time where businesses are coming to companies like ourselves and saying like, you know, how can we make money in this metaverse or in the metaverse? Right now there's individuals and companies coming to us about crypto, Bitcoin. You know, I think the metaverse is probably 3 to 5 years away before.
But would that be something that if a business, say someone's listening to this right now, would it be something that you would be saying get on it before it does blow up?
Definitely. I mean, just as an example, like the first piece of land that I acquired in Decentraland was $800. The last time I checked, the cheapest piece of land in the arsehole of nowhere is 17 grand. Fuck. You know, so if you're looking to acquire, you know, say for example, I don't know, you were like a museum or you had an art gallery, I would definitely tokenize that art and put it into the metaverse. And if you're looking like a real premium piece of land, you'd probably pay like 50, 60, close to 100 grand depending on where it is. And personally, it might sound silly, but I think that's a better bet than putting 50, 60, 100 grand into a real store, because obviously you're basing it off the foot traffic in that street. you know, the advertising, the paid ads, whatever else. But you can just you can just switch that over to the metaverse, because the metaverse at the moment, there's very little people actually marketing to people in the metaverse. It's a completely untapped market, and most of the people in the metaverse a lot of them are just minted off crypto, and they'll see a piece of art and they'll just like the look of it and buy it. Obviously that's not a blanket thing, otherwise we'd all be putting you know, art in the metaverse. But I think if I had, you know, if I ran an art gallery, I would not be relocating to somewhere in Belfast or London. I'd be renting out a piece of land in the metaverse, or buying a piece of land in the metaverse and starting a gallery
on, like, something that you could work on the side.
What is it?
It could be something that, say, if someone has an art gallery in Belfast now, they could be investing in something like that now and almost like working on it for like in 5 years. This is a actual gallery in the metaverse that you're selling art from.
It could be knocked up in a couple of weeks. So it could the actual art gallery. And Ulster University, I was actually at a talk. I forget the professor's name, but he's a fine art professor. I was actually talking to him about potentially opening, I forgot about that actually, an art gallery in the metaverse for university students at Ulster University for fine art. So you could tokenize their sculptures, their fine art, I don't know, their digital art, and just put it into, you could rent the museum for, I don't know, a weekend, tokenize the art, put it in, you know, throw a few quid at, you know, paid ads and whatever else. And you can even get it, how it works in the metaverse is you'll spawn in, and there'll be like a couple of different sections, like in events. It's literally like a billboard that you can move up and down. So we could get the event on that from Ulster University. Alternatively, you could, you know, you guys could say to me, you know what, I want to do a podcast in the metaverse to see how it goes, and we could rent a piece of land. You could use one of my pieces of land, and we could just advertise it in the event section of the Central Land and see who shows up.
What was the professor's reaction to that? Like, did he have a clue, or?
He didn't understand it, but like before I started the presentation, but after I delivered it, he said that he has a few pieces that he believed could be tokenized.
Oh, right, so he's actually into it.
But he's actually interested in it, doing it now. But it is just a completely new world, because it's hard. It's obviously hard for everybody to grasp, like, you know, how is there so much value in digital ownership? Yeah. But it's basically like, it's like anything. It all boils down a lot of the time to clout. Yeah. You know, somebody will bring you to their house and be like, this is my brand new, I don't know, Lamborghini or like mansion that I've just bought with, you know, we all see the guys on YouTube that do it, where now they're doing it with the Bored Apes and, you know, land in the metaverse and whatever else. And crazy statement, but I honestly do think there will be a time where the value of virtual real estate will actually encapsulate the value of real life real estate. Yeah. I personally think it's only a matter of time before that happens.
What are we at the minute? Like, what sort of price would you pay for a house in, say, the Central Land?
Yeah, piece of land. The cheapest piece, the last time I checked, it was around 17,000 US.
But can you go in and like buy a house? Like, say, can someone buy that land? Like, say you have your land there, can you put up like, say, a block of flats or something, and then can someone come in and purchase one of them blocks of flats?
I've never actually heard of that being done, but I'm sure it will be done in the future.
That's my idea.
Yeah, because
you said
the golden idea.
It.
Yeah,
right.
It's definitely, there is one project, but it's not the Central Land, but there's one of them that's selling like villas in the metaverse. It might actually be Sandbox. Okay, yeah, it's a company called Republic Realm. That's what you call the company, and they're selling like villas in the metaverse. I can't remember how many there is. There's maybe like 30 or 40 of them. And they actually sold a virtual yacht and stuff that went for like, I think it went for like 30 odd Ethereum or something like that, which is about 90 grand. But yeah, it definitely is going to move that way. I believe that everything will be tokenized. From, in your example, you'll buy one piece of land, knock up an apartment block, and somebody can buy that actual, I don't know, apartment 1A, or something.
Or you could actually rent them.
Yeah, I definitely believe that's the way it'll go. I don't think it's a thing now, other than the fact that Republic Realms is doing it in Sandbox. But
I've seen, I think it was like a race course NFT, or like you bought your NFT and it was like a door, so you owned the suite. But I don't know how that worked in terms of like the metaverse and stuff. Like, did you actually own a physical space on it, or whether it was just you got to view it? You know, you get in to see the race. But I thought that was a pretty cool idea.
It definitely is, and like I believe everything will be tokenized in the future. It's a crazy statement, but you know, the likes of,
even with Hape and stuff, like Hape Prime, you know, the NFTs, they've released clothing brands, haven't they, with them?
Yes.
They've done collabs and stuff with big designer brands.
Yeah, it's definitely a big thing, all these collabs. I know Adidas done a collab with the Bored Ape Yacht Club and a few other big NFT projects.
Yeah.
So they didn't release an NFT. I think it went for like a couple $100, and it's not like $2,500 or something for that Adidas NFT.
Yeah.
But it's just basically what it is. It's allowing everybody else to access the stuff that they normally couldn't access. So the likes of Trading 212, which do like tokenized shares, you know, you can go on and buy like 100th of a Tesla share or something.
Yeah.
That's a blockchain will allow for the likes of, you know, the classic Ferrari example earlier, or like tokenized real estate in the real world is actually a massive thing at the moment. There's a company called Proppy, and they actually sell real life real estate but on the blockchain, and it just cuts out the middleman. You know, so if my house is worth like 200 grand and I want to sell it to you, we can just do it through the blockchain.
Yeah.
You pay, it goes into a smart contract, you pay the 200k, I hand over the deeds via the smart contract.
Is that legally binding though? Like,
not at the moment, no.
Yeah.
Not at the moment. There's a lot of contention around it, but I do believe there'll be a time where, I think it's like the land registry or something it's called. I believe that will be that again will be on the blockchain.
Yeah.
I think everything's going to move. I think everything's going to move to the blockchain. It's like
so
going from fax to email.
Like real estate agents would be on the blockchain and like cut out that sort of like going into an office and buying a property or something like that.
Yeah, I definitely think so. I mean, it's.
But would like businesses not be afraid of that? Because like you're talking there about like estate agents, like there'll not be as much of a need for them, if you know what I mean. Because it'll be more like, I want to buy this house off you, like we can do this on the blockchain, and it like you're saying, it cuts out the middleman who would be the real estate agent. Like. So like will there be industries that are scared of like what's like eventually going to happen? Like?
Definitely. There's a couple of industries that should be and will be petrified of blockchain technology because it basically just cuts them out completely. But no matter what, it's always comforting when somebody's over your shoulder that knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
You know, so I think that'll never go away. I think there always will be, you know, a group of people that will say, you know what, if I'm putting this sale through in the blockchain, I want somebody over my shoulder that's going, that's right.
Yeah.
You know, it's nothing's done wrong. But the banking one's a massive one. A lot of people, like, there's a public perception that banks don't like blockchain.
Yeah.
When in fact they love blockchain. Why would they not love blockchain? The same as governments. It's just an open, distributed ledger which everybody can view. So if you take the likes of tax evasion or money laundering, eventually when all money becomes digital, it's impossible to get around, because I'll no longer be able to, you know, hand you £50 under the table. It'll be a digital transfer of, you know, a £50 worth of a pound central bank digital currency, which is on a private ledger that the governments can view, that it's coming from my account to your account. Yeah. So it takes away
all the privacy of it, more or less, doesn't it?
Yeah, which is a scary thing. Like, I don't like that at all, but the way I see it is there's no way to get away from it. Like, I think, you know, over the past sort of 10, 15 years, our privacy's been taken away anyway. It's just slowly but surely getting worse.
Yeah. I think a thing too, COVID's obviously pushed it as well, that we've sort of realised that we can just do everything from home. We've no need to like go in. So as I was saying earlier with the estate agent thing, like if you could just sit in your computer and virtually walk into a real estate agent or something and then do your deal there, like that would just cut out so much shit. Like.
Definitely. It's even if we look at, you know, the likes of Zoom and stuff. Yeah. Like Zoom is just completely transformed. Like to me, Zoom came out of nowhere. I'd never heard of it before COVID. Maybe I'm just being silly, but I just think to myself that everything will go that way. What you just said, like people just don't see the need to. Go outside. It's a scary thing. Like that people don't want to meet face to face, but it's sort of like, you know, if somebody's like 2 hours away, you can just jump on a Zoom, or, you know, in the future you'll be able to just jump into the metaverse and have a meeting there.
Yeah.
I think though a lot of people, like even for someone like me who doesn't know a lot about that side of stuff, I feel like a lot of people are very quick to bash and like the likes of doing stuff from home. But in actual fact, I find the days where I'm working from home, my overall quality of life is better, because I can go to the gym from 7:30 to 8:30, come back, get a shower, and be on my computer, be at my desk and on my computer for 9, as opposed to getting up at 7, to be in the office for 9. Do you know what I mean? I think a lot of people bash it very quickly to be like, oh, you're losing the human contact side of things, which I think is true, but like I don't think, like, a lot of times like we're able to come up here and record on an evening because 5 o'clock comes and I just shut down my laptop and that's me. Like, do you know what I mean? I feel like a lot of people who almost rely on having a job with human contact as their human contact are the people who are like, oh, I don't like that. You know what I mean? Because once you strip them off their jobs or their work, they don't actually have much of a social life out there. And I think the aspect of like you can go on to this universe and do business and stuff on this universe, it scares so many people.
It does. Yeah, it definitely does. But there is a personal aspect to it. Like, you know, just as an example, like my avatar has, well, it doesn't have glasses like I have. It has black shades because it's much cooler. It has, you know, ginger hair. So, you know, if I'm in the metaverse and I am meeting somebody, they can easily identify that that's me in a crowd because, well, you can see the bright orange hair, you know. So there definitely is a personal touch in the metaverse, and that's right now. You know, what is it going to be like in 3 to 5, 10 years? It's probably going to be
what you're saying to me there now. I find to be smart, like the whole aspect of. I find it so interesting that Shay literally could buy a piece of land, design a block of apartments, and physically rent that out to people and make an income from literally doing just that. But then the other aspect of it is like, where does that line draw? Where like, I couldn't go into someone else's apartment and say steal something, like what? Like, do you know?
Yeah, I know
you know
what you mean. Yeah,
like, or if I see
just
you
squat.
in a crowd, you know what I mean?
This is my apartment now.
Sorry, lad, no. But like, you know, I couldn't see you in a crowd, and I don't know, like is there literally endless possibilities, or
there is
crime in the metaverse?
Yeah.
So to say.
Yeah,
there's that ginger guy with them black glasses
on.
on.
Up to no good again. Yeah. But it's the metaverse is regulated to an extent. Like, just as an example, there was an event at the casinos the other day, and I went to it, and it popped up straight away that crypto gaming is now banned in like my region or something like that. I just played the free-to-play ones anyway, not with the real money like Ethereum or Mana or whatever.
Yeah.
But there definitely is regulation there. But it's like anything. It's like the likes of you know, Facebook and Twitter and whatever else. You know, there was a time where, you know, every bad actor in the world was once on Twitter, and then they take it down and whatever else. But of course that goes against the aspect of decentralization, you know. But it's something that still has to be. It's like anything, there'll be teething problems at the start. Yeah. You know, there definitely will be things in the future when, you know, you can tokenize apartment blocks and probably somebody will break into them. But what implications that will have in the future, even for me, that's you know, a decade off in comparison to when it's going to happen. You know, metaverse police. You know?
Nice.
Meta police.
I suppose it'd probably be easier to sort out because you could probably just like kick them out of the likes of Essential On or something, like if they did do something.
Then I suppose it's the sort of thing where they can just make another account.
True.
Go again.
Yeah.
See, that's the thing, like, because you were saying earlier, if someone robs you in the metaverse, you go around the corner, you change your avatar. Like. Nobody knows. It's like in GTA whenever you go to a pen spray. Like.
Yeah.
It's like, where'd he go? He's gone.
I suppose we should talk a bit about like your business, CryptoClear. Like you sort of touched on it there. Like you're going to be starting to put out more like free content about like what have you got planned? Like where can people find you and stuff?
Yeah, so we're gonna go to the likes of where you guys are geniuses on. You know, TikTok. We're gonna start doing that. We're gonna do YouTube and Twitch as well. We're at the moment planning to call it 3 different channels: JMac, the JMac Show, and we haven't worked out the name for the podcast, which will go live just every Sunday, just to, I'm sure you can guess, a crypto NFT metaverse podcast, you know.
Yeah.
But that's the angle we're looking to do it, and then I'll personally stream maybe every Tuesday and Thursday night would probably suit my schedule for just Q&A sessions, and then we're thinking of doing Call of Duty and crypto on a Saturday, you know, combining the gaming and crypto. And
how would that work?
You know,
how would that work? Like Call of Duty and crypto? Like, what do you?
Well, just on Twitch, I would just whack up a game of Call of Duty, and it would just be like people could come in and drop questions in.
Oh, right. I thought you were gonna be like buying skins or something.
Oh, right. Yeah. But yeah, it's really cool. Like, you know,
the branding seems to be more centralized around less about CryptoClear, more yourself.
Yeah, we brought in a PR guy, and he found that people weren't actually buying into CryptoClear as much as they were buying into me as
An
a
individual.
person, which is very common. You know, you look at the likes of, you know, Apple or Tesla. You know,
Yeah.
everybody loves Elon Musk, and they love Tesla still, but Tesla's like a background thing that people buy in because they love Elon.
Yeah.
And that's what we're trying to build with CryptoClear, that people buy into me and then ultimately buy into the CryptoClear just naturally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How can you make money off that?
Like, so the likes of the YouTube and Twitch, we're more going to focus on, like, for me that would be more of like a hobby than an actual like income source. Of course, if it gets there where it pulls money in, you know,
Happy days.
happy days, yeah. But in relation to CryptoClear, we'll probably have the guts of 10 to 11 different sources of income coming in from memberships. We get a lot of cuts from stuff like, for example, we run a bunch of nodes and we take a % from our clients for that. We have a bunch of investment companies as well that we have equity in. The company itself manages the assets, and you know, we just own equity in the company. So at the moment, you know, last December 2020 when we first started it, literally started out as like me and my uncle going, you know what, we'll knock up this membership page that'll educate people in crypto for £25 for life. And then next thing you know, it's just a year and so later with like CryptoClear at the top, which the best way I would describe it is it's like Coca-Cola. Well, maybe this is a terrible analogy, but like Fanta is like the education, Sprite is like the nodes, and there's a bunch of other things as well.
Yeah.
And that's really what we're building, is it's like a parent company at the top with a bunch of services below.
Like if someone was like to go on to CryptoClear now and like say get a membership, like what would they be getting? Like what sort of like education purposes? Like what will they learn on the website?
Yeah, so we have everything on there. So it's literally like a complete A to Z guide on crypto. It's everything from what is a crypto asset to how to buy safely, how to store securely.
Yeah.
My portfolio's on there as well, like what I buy on a weekly basis. There's a bunch of different groups as well, such as trading groups and NFT groups as well, which we drop NFTs in there. And there's a ton of stuff on there. There's one-to-one consultations as well, which is literally, I'm sure you can guess, it's just people going, you know, I want to learn about crypto. We actually used to hold them in here, funny enough, before we started doing them online.
Yeah.
You know, but yeah, there's a lot of exciting stuff coming, you know.
And if people want to get in touch with you, like where's the best place to find you and stuff? Like
it would definitely be the likes of Instagram or LinkedIn. Would probably be the two best places to get in touch, or email, which is info@crypto-clear.co.uk. But the emails at the moment are just going crazy.
Yeah.
Absolutely crazy. Especially, it's very strange. Like when the crypto's gone up, the emails start to dry up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When the crypto goes up, the emails go nuts. You know, you can actually track it. When the crypto goes up like 10% per day, like say Bitcoin jumps, we'll get a ton of emails. Then when Bitcoin drops 10%,
No one's
we don't get any emails, but it should be the opposite.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you want to get in when the price is down rather than the price is going up.
Yeah, exactly.
Would you say that's just people trying to get on the hype?
Exactly. Yeah, it's just the whole thing, like anything, just boils down to human psychology. It's like greed and fear of missing out.
Yeah.
It's like Peter telling Paul that he's made like 10 grand in crypto, and he sees that it's on up 10% and goes, oh no, I must get into it. When in reality, he should have got into it when Peter first told him about it. You know, 6 months before, when it was down in, like it was 2 years ago. 2 years ago, a couple of days ago, Bitcoin was 4,000 per coin.
That's when it dropped, was it?
Yeah, I think it was
After that, it was 2017, 2018, hey? Like it went way up, didn't it?
It did. It went to nearly 20,000.
And then just plummeted after that, wasn't it?
Yeah, it dropped the whole way down and then went up a wee bit. And then I think it was nicknamed like Black Thursday. It was with COVID and stuff, like, you know, where all the markets and stuff went into panic, and crypto went to nearly $4,000 per coin, which, to put that into perspective, it's the guts of 10x that value right now. So I can just remember seeing it at that low, and I just rung my uncle and was like, listen, every penny that I have is now going to go into the crypto. You know, it'd be a good time to throw some more money at it, you know.
I suppose we'll wrap it up there. But thanks for coming on. It
My
was
pleasure.
interesting to learn more about crypto. I'm sure you learnt a lot, Ross.
I did. My eyes are open.
Yeah.
But it's made me want to know more in a more technical
Yeah.
sense. Like now that
Keep my
I've
taste first.
now that I've
Yeah.
now that I've dipped my toe in the water, I want to fully submerge. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
You'll have a bored ape in 2 months.
Yeah.
Wait till you see.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you're listening to this now, be sure to follow Johnny. And keep in. Johnny Mac back to back would be a good episode of your podcast. Just saying.
Yeah.
You can pay me later.
Make that up there now.
Yeah, literally as he said it.
Yeah.
My juices were flowing in my head.
Yeah.
I love it.
But yeah, if you're listening to this, be sure to subscribe and follow the podcast, comment and do all that stuff. And until next time, thank you very much for listening. Bye.